years of experience, and my qualification is BSc in botany subject, MBA in marketing and human resource management. My total 18 years experience contributes with 6 years in pharmaceutical sales, around 3 years in administration, and 9 years in management teaching. I was a faculty for ICFA National College at Hubli, All India Sri Shivaji Memorial Society's Institute of Management at Pune, and ATSS IICMR also. Recently, around 2 months ago, I joined Matrix School of Management Study, and I am pursuing PhD in pharmaceutical sales from Mumbai University. So this brief introduction I feel is sufficient for you all, and let's start with our first topic in enterprise performance management, introduction to performance management. All put together it is having 5 topics, and with 2 examples of performance management in banking sector and one more topic. So with introduction of performance management, management expert Lockett in 1992 defined performance management, which aims at developing individuals with the required commitment and competencies for working towards the shared meaningful objectives within an organizational framework. Now, this particular statement was made by Lockett, a management scholar, in year 1992, around 30 years ago. The more elaborate and precise definition, what it is: performance management framework are designed. Performance management frameworks are designed with the objective of improving both individual and organizational performance by identifying performance requirements, providing regular feedback, and assisting the employees in their career development. Now, I have already in short inform you that what performance management is. Do not connect it with performance appraisal. I will come to that point also when we have to talk about difference between performance appraisal and performance management. But performance management of entire team, entire all level employee, lower, middle, upper stakeholders, including stakeholders too, how they perform and how it is meeting with the requirement and expectations of an organization, what vision, mission they have decided to complete, and how much employees are contributing it to accomplish it. This is what relevant to performance management. Now, performance management, the third point which explains what is meant by performance management, explain performance management aims at building a high performance culture for both the individuals and the teams so that they jointly take the responsibility of improving the business processes on a continuous basis, and at the same time raise the competence bar by upgrading their own skills within a leadership framework. These all points are meant for explaining what is meant by performance management and how enterprise performance management is important when it comes to achieving an organization's vision. Now, it's quite possible that a tourism company is operating within Maharashtra only. Their vision I mean to say, is to become a global tour management company or tour management leader within their sector. At present, they are operating within Maharashtra state and serving customers, travelers within Maharashtra. First of all, they have to expand in nearby states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, those who are attached with border to Maharashtra. Their next objective could be spread out within entire India, and their ultimate vision or the ultimate goal is to be global leader. And all these things happens when their employees are contributing according to vision dreamed by their company, their organization. So this is what relevant to performance management. There are enough explanations given, but I have in this one slide meant to explain you that performance management as a tool, as a entity, is relevant to actual performance of employee, not one individual, not one individual department like sales, advertising, accounts, finance, manufacturing, but counting, having count of, taking into consideration entire organization and the actual vision which was seen by an organization. Now, performance management is measured, is counted, is taken into consideration, taken into account by how many means? By doing job analysis of individual employee, having recruitment and onboarding employee, giving reward and recognition. Those who are performing well, we should reward them. We should give recognition to their performance, extraordinary performance. Otherwise, there won't be any motivation. Performance appraisal. Here, performance appraisal, once again, I will talk in brief, but later on we will explain in detail. That says setting expectations and accountabilities, disciplinary processes. There are certain disciplinary processes wherein individual, when performing well or not performing well, some disciplinary actions need to be taken. Not all disciplinary actions are required to remove, terminate, suspend the employee. Some corrections could be made. Discussion may happen one-to-one between employer and employee, and disciplinary processes can be followed. Learning and development and succession planning. These are the major steps which are followed while performance management is counted. What all are the objectives of performance management? Why performance management is important tool, and how performance management plays an important role when it comes to organization. What it is? To enable the employees towards achievement of superior standards of work performance. Every other worker, every other employee, blue collared, white collared, or even he is a board of member, board of director, trying his level best to work well so that he can sustain, remain present in that way in that particular organization. But it is not just important to sustain in the organization. When certain standards are meant by organization to perform or to accomplish, to complete, in that way, employee has to go toward achievement. Superior standards, not just standards, but superior standards of work performance. You can have idea that every other job these days is result oriented, performance oriented. It is either counted in rupee value or counted in units. And if you are not giving that much result, you will be given ultimatum. You will be out of that company. This is what every other organization these days is having straightforward communication with every employee. So here what they are talking of as an objective, superior standards of work performance. Every other employee, if suppose in sales department, in north zone, west zone, south zone, east zone, is having on an average 1 lakh rupees sales target per month for sales department. They are having respective territories like Pune having 8 employees, Satara, Sangli, Kolhapur having 3 employees is based on the size of that particular territory. And every individual is required to have minimum 1 lakh rupees business to generate on per month basis. Now, what superior standard of work performance suggests here? Not 1 lakh rupees. It may be 1.25 lakh. Now, when an individual employee is achieving 1.25 lakh consistently every financial year, or at least for one financial year, he is said to be achieving superior standards of work performance. This is what relevant to objectives of performance management. Now, the next objective of performance management is to help the employees in identifying the knowledge and skills required for performing the efficiently, as this would drive their focus toward performing the right task in the right way. What all are the requirements what we do have when we are working at our workplace? We need to have knowledge, we need to have skills, and the very important thing, we should have attitude, professional attitude to perform the task given to us. Knowledge, skill, and attitude. It's quite possible that we do have knowledge to work for a particular task. We do have skill, but many a times winners come out with attitude. It's quite possible that those people who are lagging behind in attitude, although having knowledge and skills, will not win. Now, when you are, as you are now in 4th sem of MBA course, MBA as a course, whichever specialization you have taken, finance, finance, HR, operations, marketing, whichever it may be, what we are as a management education institute try to inculcate in your personality, try to give you part of knowledge, part of skill required to work in the corporate field. But we are here to change your attitude. MBA as a course is meant for changing attitude, changing common man's attitude, and to make it a corporate employee. So this is what relevant to identifying knowledge and skills required for performing efficiently. Now, the next objective for performance management, boosting the performance of the employees by encouraging employee empowerment, motivation, and implementation of an effective reward mechanism. Now, one by one, I will explain you what it is stating, boosting the performance of the employees and giving them encouragement by empowerment, motivation, and implementation. Empowerment. What is meant by empowerment? Empowerment suggests what? Because I don't want to be this dialogue a monotonous one. That's why I am asking you. Empowerment suggests what? Employees are given certain powers, certain freedom, so that they can make use of their creativity, their past experience, their skill. If as an employee you are restricted or required to work within one frame, then you won't be able to make use of your skill, experience, and come up with something new. Now, it's quite possible that a salesperson is selling, or a manufacturing employee is manufacturing at his workplace for last several months and years in the same pattern without making any changes at his own. Why? Because he is strictly informed, asked, given instructions by management. You do not deviate from the way we are asking you to work. Now, what we are saying here, think out of the box. When Employee think out of the box. Empowerment needed to be given to him. Motivation. Now motivation and rewards are something certain and closely related to each other. If an employee is getting motivated to work in the way he is supposed to work, he can build confidence, have trust in his organization, and he could be a reliable, trustworthy employee who is performing well. An implementation of effective reward mechanism. Implementation of an effective reward mechanism. Rewards are both monetary, non-monetary. Even if an employee in an entire accounting year for only 1 month is getting certified or getting rewarded in non-monetary program, that he is the person who, without taking a single casual leave or sick leave, work well, and we appreciate this stand of our employee. He gets motivated. There are enough non-monetary and monetary reward mechanisms and which could be implemented. The next objective of performance management is promoting a two-way system between employee and employer of communication between supervisors and the employees for clarifying expectations about the roles and accountabilities, communicating the functional and organizational goals, providing a regular and transparent feedback for improving employee performance and continuous coaching. This is what relevant to how supervisors are required to take or get work done from employees, and how they can do by clarifying their expectations, their monthly performance, weekly performance, quarterly, half yearly, and annual performance, their roles and accountabilities or roles and responsibilities, how a supervisor can communicate the functional and organizational goals when a ground level employee, front level employee, reporting supervisor is working. Now supervisor's responsibility is to communicate in what way he is supposed to function, what organizational goals he is required to achieve, and again he is supposed to provide regular and unbiased feedback for improving employee performance. Identifying the barriers to effective performance and resolve those barriers through constant monitoring, coaching, and development. Now, when being employee for any organization, it's me, few of you who are already working and taking education, when want to perform according to company's expectation, this market, which is working with external and internal environment, have certain barriers. Those barriers are beyond our control. What we are going through lockdown phase 2. Now this is because of second wave of corona or COVID-19. This particular barrier which asks we all people to work from home is affecting our performance. Many organizations where field work is a necessary virtue, wherein one-to-one transaction between seller and buyer has to happen, B2B or B2C, whichever marketing or sales department it may be. Here barrier is laid down on account of lockdown, on account of COVID-19 second wave, first wave also and second wave also. And there are certain barriers, political, economical, social, cultural, technological, legal. All these barriers, employee working at front level, his supervisor, middle level, entire organization has to take into consideration, and resolving those barriers through constant monitoring, coaching, and development interventions. The next objective of performance management is creating a basis for several administrative decisions, strategic planning, succession planning, promotions, and performance-based payment. Now, this particular thing, which is stated as objective of performance management, wherein strategic planning, succession planning, promotions, and performance-based payment are mostly implemented in manufacturing, IT, and sales sector. What strategic planning required to be done? Zone wise, area wise, territory wise, allocation of employee, their team leader, area manager, supervisor, if they are working well and going ahead according to organizational objectives. If they are going well, then succession planning. After succession planning, those all who are performing and giving superior standard performance, what we have seen earlier, superior standards of performance, they will be getting promoted, and based on their performance, their incentive and monetary rewards will be given. Even non-monetary rewards also are included in performance-based payments. Now, the last objective of performance management, promoting personal growth and advancement in the career of the employees by helping them in acquiring the desired knowledge and skill. This is something which is of your interest. Few of you are working in the field, few of you are working in the offices, and many of you are about to come and join in the corporate sector. You must have seen, heard, discussed that certain organizations who have employees for 10 plus years, 15 plus years, they don't leave the company. And there are other few who are quite popular, working well, having profit, and their NSE, BSE, Sensex in share price value, that also is quite good, growing condition. But employees who are working in those organizations are leaving that organization in a span of 3 to 5 years. What must be the difference between these two organizations? When people feel that there is a scope for their personal growth and there is a scope for their advancement in career, they remain stuck up with the existing organization. And because they are working in the same organization for same territory and coming across same stakeholders, same customers for prolonged duration, their knowledge and skill get chance to improve. So this is what relevant with for personal growth. When a person is doing job, he is doing job for at the most 2 to 3 years. But when a person is doing his career, he thinks of working with the same organization more than 5 years. That way he gets time to breathe, he gets time to settle, and he gets time to develop his knowledge and skills. So next slide, what it states, some of the essential prerequisites without which performance management system will not function effectively in an organization. What they are: should attract very high levels of participation. Every member concerned should take part in performance management. It should be a participative process from gatekeeper up to managing director. Every other person in an organization should be participative. Top management support and commitment is very essential. When top management supports their employees to perform well, they get motivated and they perform and they come up with superior standards for building a sound performance culture in an organization. Organizational vision, mission, and goals should be clearly defined and understood by all levels so that the efforts are directed toward the realization of the organizational ambitions. This is what related to vision, mission, and goals. I would like to quote one example here instead of going and explaining theoretical or what we say philosophical thing. When in 1993, Mr. Ratan Tata took over Tata Group as chairman. At that time, I am talking around 28 years ago. At that time, Tata's total turnover was around 25,000 crore rupees. And one point came into Tata Group's history when Mr. Ratan Tata handed over his charge as chairman to Mr. Cyrus Mistry. If you know, Mr. Cyrus Mistry took charge as the chairman of Tata Group. At that time, when Ratan Tata left, the total turnover of company was 1,25,000 crore. Now, we will go further in the discussion. You know what happened after Mr. Cyrus Mistry took over Tata Group as a chairman. In next few years, not even years, in next few months, Tata Group started coming down, and again Mr. Ratan Tata was invited as a chairman and requested to join. Again, from 1.25 thousand crore, the company is now reaching up to 3 lakh crore. So this is what relevant to top management, what it is. If a top management is having some vision, having some mission and goals to complete, then they ask their employees to work. One more example I want here to quote so that it will be very much clear to you what I am talking about. Top management support and commitment. Kokilaben Ambani, wife of Dhirubhai Ambani, distributed entire wealth of Ambani Group without any bias, without any partiality between her two sons, Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani. You all are listening to me?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
students?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani got equal amount of wealth from Reliance Group. Okay. Now, please let me know where Anil Ambani is now. Anil Ambani now is a bankrupt person. To the contrary, Mukesh Ambani is having his name in count in entire world top 10 richest people. Getting my point? When top management persons or even one individual who's at the top of that organization, if he is having guts, if he is a visionary, if he is keeping some missions in his mind and goals to be achieved, then entire organization keeps on working for him. What is said in a saying? Listen carefully. A team of ships led by a lion can defeat team of lions led by sheep. Got the point? Okay. Next thing, clear definition of the roles of performing a given job within the organizational framework, which emanates from the departmental and the organizational objectives. What you are here for? Being employee, what is your role and responsibility? You should be very much clear. The system should also be able to explain the linkages of a role with other roles. When you are performing a particular role, how it is affecting other people's role and how that is connected with yours, that should be clear also. Open and transparent communication, very much important, should prevail, which will motivate the employees for participating freely and delivering high performance. Communication is an essential prerequisite for a performance management process, as it clarifies expectations and enables the parties in the understanding desired behaviors or expected results. Now, this particular essential factor for what? To prerequisite for performance management system, open and transparent communication. It is always said that employees do not leave company. Employees when leave the company, they do not leave company. They leave their manager. Or if employees join the company, they don't join the company. Formally they join, but they do join with their immediate senior whom they report. Now what happens when their immediate senior, he may be area manager, for area manager's team, he may be regional manager, for regional manager's team, he may be zonal manager, and for zonal manager's team, he may be national manager. What happens? Stepwise communication. When being frontline sales executive, frontline employee, lower level employee, when I am reporting to a supervisor, my supervisor should have good, healthy and reliable communication. There shouldn't be any issue, any point where we have mistrust. He is lying me or either I am lying to him. Now communication is an essential prerequisite for a performance management process. When my communication is with my supervisor or vice versa is proper and motivating, having understanding, then everything goes well. When an employee leaves the organization, he is not leaving that entire big organization. He is leaving his immediate senior because he is not talking to him in respectful language. Perhaps he is using disrespectful, derogatory words to his subordinate. That's the reason they get demotivated. And again, because of these consequences, demotivation, their performance goes down below expectations. And because their performance goes below expectations, in a continuous 3-6 months, they have to leave that company. So identification of major performance parameters and definition of key performance indicators. KPI, as you know well, what is your communication skill, how knowledgeable you are, what confidence level you work with, what is your territory knowledge about the entire working environment. On all these parameters, how many leaves you have taken, how much unit wise, rupee wise performance or achievements you had, what about new launch product, what about market survey. These all key performance indicators are measured for performance management. Consistency and fairness in application. An individual when performing well, it's quite possible that in 1 month his performance going up in the sky and next month down to earth, below ground level. It's quite possible that he is taking advantage of market. One example I would like to quote here, Kumbh Mela in this year, calendar year 2021, was celebrated where? Which location? Any student can answer?
Prayagraj, Allahabad.
Huh?
Prayagraj.
Prayagraj, Allahabad.
Allahabad. Yeah.
Kumbh Mela was celebrated there this year.
Sorry, in Haridwar. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the reason I want you people to remain alert. It was conducted in Haridwar. Now, because I was for consistent 6 years in pharmaceutical sales, I would like to share one important, interesting factor here. What it is relevant to consistency and fairness. In Haridwar, there are companies who are operating like Cipla, Ranbaxy, and Sun Pharma. Within 1 month of this Kumbh Mela, most of the representatives working at front level have achieved their annual target. You know why? Because Haridwar's original population, entire Haridwar city's original population may be 10 to 15 lakh. But during that Kumbh Mela time, for 15 to 21 days only, the total population went up to 1 crore. And their requirement of medicines went like anything. All the pharmacists, by knowing the fact that this particular place in coming few days will have more than 1 crore pilgrims to visit, and they will have certain requirements. They they stocked too much medicines with their retail stores, and because of this, all the companies representative were find it very easy to achieve not that month target only, but entire year target. This is not consistency. What next month? What next to next month? Nothing. So this is what relevant to consistency and fairness in application. Now, a commitment towards recognition of high performance. Rewards and recognition should be built with the framework of performance management framework. Employee should remain committed towards high performance. Now, proper organizational training should be provided to the staff members based on their identification of training needs from periodic evaluation and review of performance. This will motivate the employees for a superior performance. What we say, organizational training, why it is important? Training as a thing. When we say a person given proper training can operate aeroplane. He could be a commercial air pilot because he is getting the proper training. But without a training, you can't even drive a bicycle, a two-wheeler. So this is what important for training. Now, key concerns of a performance management in an organization. What all are the key concerns? Concerns with the output in unit, in rupee value. Even if it is a shopping mall and you are visiting, whether it is DMart, Shoppers Stop or Big Bazaar, a person, a young boy or girl will assist you. Hello sir, good afternoon sir, good morning sir. Now from him or her up to the manager of that entire outlet, DMart or Big Bazaar, each one of them is having certain output to be given, and output is based on interdependent performance. When frontline sales employee will achieve his target, will give his expected output, his supervisor will give. When supervisor's team is giving, that entire depot manager would be able to achieve his target. Process required for reaching the results and also the inputs. When it comes to inputs, knowledge, skills and attitudes are your inputs. When you are being loyal, fighting case for your client, what is required for you to do? You are required to have knowledge of that individual case, which Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code is required to be used in that particular case. How to defend your client, you should know. You should have communication skill and you should have that attitude. A lawyer is most of the time or whole day he is working in the court. During late night, he is what we say burning midnight oil because of his attitude to save his client. Concern with measurement of results and review of progress in the achievement of set targets. When we are supposed to work based on performance, based on result, targets are given to us. Measurement of results is always important, and review of progress for performance management system. This is one key concern. Concern with defining business plans in advance for shaping a successful future. Without having plan, what you can achieve, what plan you have made as a top management employee or board of director or general manager or managing director, that plan you need to discuss with your subordinate. You need to discuss with middle management or managing committee members so that you can shape it. Striving for continuous improvement and continuous development by creating a learning culture. Concern with establishing a culture of trust. Already I talked, an individual employee never leaves the company. He leaves his bad manager. And mutual understanding that fosters free flow of communication at all levels in matters such as clarification of expectations and sharing of information on the core values of an organization. Now, concerned with provision of procedural fairness and transparency in the process of decision making. These all are the key concerns. Now, components of performance management system. Next important point. This is introduction, all my dear friends, for enterprise performance management. This is a particular theoretical concept which I am explaining you. Along with example, you will be able to easily understand it. Now, any effective performance includes few concepts. Performance planning, earlier ones also, planning what is a job and responsibility of top management is first crucial component. What you plan, that you implement. What you implement, those results you have to share. Means if your planning is proper, implementation will remain proper. If implementation remains proper, your results also will be up to your expectations. What is stated? Performance planning is the first crucial component of any performance management process, which forms the basis for performance appraisal. Performance planning is jointly done by the appraisee and also the reviewee in the beginning of a performance session. During this period, employees decide upon the targets and the key performance areas which can be performed over a year within the performance budget, which is finalized after a mutual agreement between the reporting officer and the employee. Now, every individual employee will not have similar valued or similar rupee valued target for achieving in an entire year, over a year. Budget for performance of individual employee will differ. Why? Within India, any idea you have how much GDP contribution only Maharashtra state is giving out of 100? 47%. Remaining 53% is given by rest all states. Now, you cannot compare state like Assam, Tripura, Manipur, Sikkim, Nagaland, Mizoram with Maharashtra's GDP contribution. They are the states where climatic adversities are at their peak. We do have favorable atmospheric conditions. We have the highest middle class population. Literacy rate of Maharashtra is above 85%. Urban population is almost 50% and rural population is of 50%. We have per capita income at the highest in India for few states. Economical capital of India, Mumbai, is there in Maharashtra. So when it comes to performance budget for team Maharashtra, will have different rupee value, will have different unit value than that of team for Karnataka, team from Kerala, team from Tamil Nadu. So this is what relevant to components of performance management system. Performance budget is an important component of performance management system. Performance appraisal and reviewing. Now let me explain you what is meant by performance appraisal and performance management. Performance management is seen for entire organization, including all three levels, lower, middle and upper management. When it comes to performance appraisal is for an individual to decide whether he should be continued in an organization, he should be given promotion for the achievement he had, or he should be demoted. So these all performance appraisals are for individual people, done by both reviewee and employee. The appraisals are normally performed twice in a year and in an organization in the form of mid-review and annual review. In this process, appraisee first offers the self-build-up rating in the self-appraisal form and also describes his achievements over a period of time in quantifiable terms. This is what performance appraisal. After self-appraisal, final ratings are provided by the appraiser. Appraiser is, that may be HR team, his supervisor, his manager, for the quantifiable and measurable achievements of the employee being appraised. Entire process of review seeks an active participation of both employee and the appraiser for analyzing the cause of loopholes in the performance and how it can be overcome. So this is what relevant to components. Now feedback on performance followed by personal counseling and performance felicitation. This is something once employee works in the actual field, comes across many controllable and uncontrollable factors, faces barriers, tries his level best, invests his knowledge, skill and attitude, and end of the day he comes up with the result. What all are the things after he comes up with the result? Feedback on the performance followed by personal counseling and performance facilitation. I am going in the market, meeting my clients, meeting my stakeholders, taking feedback or taking opinions from my stakeholders or customers, trying my level best to convince them to buy our company's services or products. They are giving their different opinions. Few of them refuses to buy product, few of them refuses to buy service, and few of them accepts it. Although I sold unit wise services or products required or expected by my company, but when it comes to actual payment received is having difference, then that all included in my feedback. What it is, feedback and counseling is given a lot of importance in the performance management process. Individual employee working at front line is quite possibly say that to his supervisor, sir, what we are selling in the market at 10 rupees, there are 2-3 more companies available with same quality, same standard at the rate 7. Now it is difficult for us to sell that particular thing. So this is what feedback is giving competitors price or competitors activity. This is the stage in which the employee acquire awareness from the appraiser about the areas of improvements and also information on whether the employee is contributing to the expected levels of performance or not. He was told for a duration of month to achieve 10 units. He is achieving 7 units. For not achieving 3 units, he is giving certain explanation, feedback. The employee receives an open and very transparent feedback. Along with this, the training and development needs of the employees also identified. Many a times we have seen that seller is not giving satisfactory answers to his client, to his customer about the product what he is buying. The appraiser adopts all the possible steps to ensure that the employees meet the expected outcomes. There may be an outlet of Sony LED, Samsung, or for sake any other brand. Now when we are selling LED amounting to 1.25 lakh, 85,000, even if it is for 35,000, individual customer don't know anything of LED technology. Whatever he listens from seller, that retail outlet employee, he believes it. LED as a product, LCD as a product is technically complicated. Now, being seller with very high amount involved in buying, a seller should know every other technical aspect of that particular product, how to use it, how user friendly you can make it, because LCD, LED, laptop, Android phone. These all things needed to be made user friendly for buyer. Then only they buy it. Then only they gain confidence to use it. Otherwise, investing 30, 35,000, 85,000 and 1 lakh plus rupees is of no use. Part of it is known to them, but not all things. Now, even in case of such technical devices or automobile, these days, even two-wheelers are advanced technically. Button start, alloy wheel, digital meter. These all things are there in a two-wheeler. So certain aspects technically advanced which were not available in earlier models, traditional models of two-wheeler, you have to compare as a seller, and then you have to sell it to the buyer, end buyer. So these all things are relevant with feedback of seller or feedback of employee. Employee may quite often say, being new, that I don't have technical knowledge, and when customers are asking me, I am not been able to answer them, and it is giving wrong impression on my part. That's why I am not been able to sell certain units of product. So this is what relevant to feedback. Rewarding good performance. This is something always having the highest interest from employee and employer side. This is a very vital component. When you are achieving your annual budget, monthly budget, you should be given reward, and especially monetary reward. Otherwise, there is no use of achieving it. When I am achieving annual budget, I am not getting any monetary reward, and when I am not achieving my annual budget, I am not getting any monetary reward. Then what is the difference? Why I should get motivated? Being salaried employee, when I am working with any sales organization, salary as such is given to me. It's minimum basic requirement. I am attracted to incentives, different attractive incentive schemes monitored by and implemented by organization. So this is what related to rewarding good performance. This stage is very sensitive for an employee, as this may have direct influence on the self-esteem and achievement orientation. When I am achieving something and I am not getting rewarded, my self-esteem gets hurt. Any contributions duly recognized by an organization helps an employee in coping up with the failure successfully and satisfies the need for affection. This one I will take as the last slide, and I will stop here. Last 2 minutes. Performance improvement plan. When an employee is not performing up to expectation, improvement plan should be given to him by his immediate senior, his supervisor, his manager, or his senior. So what happens? Employee is clearly communicated about areas in which he can expected to improve in a stipulated deadline, and plan is jointly developed by the appraisee and the appraiser and is mutually approved. So this is what relevant to performance management. So hope you all understood the presentation today, what I discussed with you. Now for your next session, I am stopping here. Okay, bye students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.